According to form, when he's really prepared, when he really wants to go hard, he likes to be right next to the pace setter.
Some of the others in the field, Graham Fell, a Canadian who actually fell in the Millrose Games. He's got a lot to make up for. Career of Kenya, Mark Junkerman from UCLA, Brian Deemer, the bronze medalist in the steeplechase in '84. But the eyes are really on Padilla and Aouita. Padilla with a tremendous surge in the 3,000, went by Aouita and really had him on the ropes. Padilla and Aouita right with the pace setter.
Todd Kopich from George Mason is the pace setter, and they're taking it out. Now, they can't go too fast. All afternoon, we've been seeing pace setters going too hard. He should look to see how fast he's going and slow down accordingly. But Saeed Aouita going right the way he wants to. 30 seconds, that may be a little fast for the first 200 meters. They'll have to slow down a little bit. You can't go out too fast.
Frank, you'll have to tell that to Aouita the next time he comes by. He seems to be happy.
Well, Aouita has 1:44 half-mile speed. He can handle the pace. Right now, Todd Kopich is the leader. Johan Ingham of Sweden in second. Aouita is third. American Doug Padilla is in fourth. Barnaba Carrier is in fifth. And Graham Fell is in sixth.
And Marty, you were exactly right when you were saying everybody's eyes would be on Aouita and Padilla in third and fourth place, including all the other runners in the race. When you have two athletes who are so superior the way Aouita and Padilla are, they really tend to dominate the race psychologically, and I think everyone else is watching them.
25 laps of the track. Now, Aouita said before coming over he was going to run 5 races and set 5 world records. He missed the world record at 3,000 meters, and he probably wants to get back on schedule here.
There's another reason why he's running in the United States, Marty. About $100,000 for those 5 meets.
Well, if he runs as he did in the Millrose Games Friday, he's going to be worth every bit of it. Right now, the lead has changed hands as but Todd Kopich continues to lead. Ingham of Sweden in second. And in this race, there are 2 rabbits. And I guess, Frank Shorter, a lot of people ask, why rabbits? Why doesn't one man go after the record all by himself?
It's very difficult to lead from the very start. No matter who you are, they're 2:08 at 800 meters, which is right on pace. They're exactly on pace now to set a world record to go under 13:20.
And in the 5,000 meters, Todd Kopich of George Mason University has stepped off the track, and Johan Ingham of Sweden, the second pace setter, is now leading. It's been an even pace. There hasn't been much changing of position, Frank Shorter, because the pace has been fast enough.
Right on pace, just about 65 seconds per 400 meters or a little bit faster, which means they're right on 13:20 pace exactly. Now, if Padilla and Aouita, who are now in third and second place, can maintain that pace until about 2.5 miles, they will most certainly break the record because they can run the half mile at the end a bit faster. But so far, it's right as they want to run. And what strikes me about Aouita in second place is watching him 2 nights ago and watching him now, he seems much more relaxed in his shoulders and upper body. To me, even though he beat Doug Padilla 2 nights ago and ran a good 3,000 meters, he seems more relaxed and going better today.
Frank Litsky, what about that difference? This is a 200-meter flat track. Aouita's race in New York was on a banked board track, the first time he ever ran on one. Do you think he looks better here tonight?
I think he looks a lot better. I asked him about that bank track. He said, I didn't know how to run on it, believe me. He says, I was guessing. He guessed pretty well. But I think he's very happy to be in the United States, to be running. I think he's happy to get away from home for a little because the people put so much pressure on him there. He said, people in Morocco always expect me to win. Even if I run against Carl Lewis in 100 meters, they expect me to win. So I asked him, can you beat Lewis at 100 meters? He said, yeah, on horseback or on a motorbike.
That may be the only time Aouita conceded that there is someone in the world who can beat him. He's a very confident man. And right now, he is in second place, leading from Doug Padilla. And Frank Shorter, let's talk about Padilla's great gutsy race at the Millrose Games. He had won the Millrose 3,000 5 times, and although he didn't run as well as he'd like at the Olympics and he had a poor indoor season last year, Friday night he woke up a lot of people with a great charge.
He did everything that you need to do to win a 3,000 meters. He ran exactly as he should. Now Aouita taking the lead and really pressing. Now Doug Padilla has to catch him. Doug Padilla can fall behind some people and win a race with his kick, but he can't fall behind Aouita, and Aouita looks great. The thing about the other night is maybe Aouita needed one race to really take the pressure off himself to see what kind of condition he's in. Now he knows, and he's really picked it up.
Doug Padilla trying desperately to get up into the draft created by Aouita. As you said, this is the breaking point in the race, and this packed crowd, standing room only, double-decker standing room on the backstretch, senses that this is the moment of truth, not for Aouita. He's still looking good, but the moment of truth for Padilla. And the Moroccans are celebrating a victory already.
Padilla is a victim. He has to go with Aouita or he has no chance. He can't hope that Aouita will come back to him.
Aouita is probably better at this than any runner I have ever seen. He's able to get a lead and run very quickly, relaxed, and then ease off into his pace. But right now, he's going for the record. He's got it won. Now it's just record or no record.
They were clicking off 64-second laps, and Aouita just took off and ran 60.9. That's about 4-minute mile pace. And I guess what he's saying is, Padilla, I ran against you Friday, and if you think I'm going to let you smell victory tonight, there he goes looking back. Padilla's got to stick into it, because maybe the world record's not in the cards for him tonight, but the American record of 13:20 is, the record which he already holds.
The record could be his if he keeps running this way. I think he's back on record pace at this point. At the end of the next lap, we'll be able to tell for sure.
That's an old Kenyan trick that Aouita is pulling, putting that fast quarter mile in there. We were schooled into thinking you run this fast and this fast and this fast, and the pace doesn't change much. The Africans, especially the Kenyans, started throwing in those big spurts.
8:01 for 3,000 meters. That's about an 8:30 2-mile, very quick pace, and now Aouita pulls away his lead a good 60 yards, and Doug Padilla begins to get company. You'll catch a shot of Padilla coming into the picture as Aouita, obviously after the record, and perhaps Frank Shorter, he didn't expect to have to let run the last mile and a half by himself.
He's about 8 seconds ahead of world record pace right now overall in the race, but he had to run very quickly to get that kind of pad on the world record. But his conditioning must be superb, because he looks very good. Usually an athlete this far out in the lead begins to tire a little bit, but now he's settled into about a 63-second tempo from what was a 65-second tempo at the start. So unless something happens, he's going to break the record.
Frank Litsky, this is kind of reminiscent from the indoor season when Peter Snell came to America and had never run on an indoor track and proceeded to break world record after world record.
Yeah, he looked lousy too, didn't he? This crowd's getting excited.
Now with another 65-second lap. So what he's done is he threw in a 61, but now he's fallen back to 65s, and Doug Padilla has his hands full with Graham Fell of Canada, as Fell is in second, Padilla is in third, and Aouita has the race. And both of you, I'm really surprised with the tickets as hard as they were to get into this meet. How did so many Moroccans get tickets? There's about 100 flags in here.
The first record of the day has been set. Most Moroccan flags at an indoor meet. There are at least 3.
6 laps now, a mile and a half, and he's on the world record pace for 5,000 meters. That record held by Suleiman Nyambui, the great Tanzanian distance runner who went to the University of Texas at El Paso. And Saeed Aouita has just taken this race by the throat and is trying to wrestle that world record into submission.
One thing that may be helping Aouita here is it's a 200-meter track, and he's familiar with meters, so he can be on splits. He knows where he is. When he was running on the other indoor track, which is an odd distance, it's an odd number of laps, it's hard to know where you are. He doesn't understand the splits. Here, he's such a precise runner. He knows where he is. He knows how fast he has to run. And believe me, this man knows that he's on world record pace right now, whether anyone's telling him in English or Moroccan.
His last 3 laps running 64, 65, and 65.8. And he has 5 laps to go. It's getting tougher. But his lead is not decreasing at all. He's pulling away. And in about another lap, the crowd is really going to have to get into this race if they're going to give him any help at all. when you set world records, and Aouita has set 4 of them outdoors, you usually do have to do it all alone. He's no stranger as he passes his countrymen.
But the pressure's off him now in terms of the competition. He knows he hasn't won. Now he has to gauge his effort. And this is the critical part. He's got 3 laps to go. He knows he can't start sprinting yet. This is the most important lap. He has to hold as much of his effort as he can for this lap.
Another 65-second lap, and Frank Shorter, he has showed no weakness as we look at Joe Dial in the pole vault.
And here we'll know very soon. He's coming through 12:13, 12:14 with a little more than a quarter to go. If he's anywhere around 12:20, he's got a real shot, because this man, 12:21, if he can run 61 seconds, he'll break the record at 59.
Dial misses, and now Aouita chases the record. Final lap. This is where his lap and a half. This is where his greatness shows. Sidney Marie has called him the toughest runner he ever ran against, and it's because on the final lap of a race, he can find another gear. He can transform himself to a different stride and get up on his toes. 12:53. It's going to take him about 30 seconds for this last lap to 13:20.
He's going to break that record by about 5 seconds if he keeps going the way he's going. If you're going to set a record, really put it out of reach.
50 yards to go for Saïd Aouita of Morocco, unsuccessful at the Olympics, and unsuccessful by 2 seconds here at the Mobil 1 Invitational for the 2nd night in a row, narrowly missing a world record.
World University Games and Pan American Games.
We're back at Mobil 1. Saïd Aouita with the 6th best performance of all time. Right.